Hi, my name is Alia Reynolds. I am the current president of Students Against Sexual Assault Nonprofit, also known as SASA, and I'm the UCSB director of SASA. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm super excited to be here. My name is Emily Montalvo-Telford. I am the founder and former president of SASA's nonprofit board and the former director of its UCSB chapter. I'm super excited to be here to talk about, SASA's founding, where it all really started, and the projects we got done.
So, the first question I have for you is what inspired you to create SASA at UCSB? How did it start, and what were the problems you were trying to solve?
Yeah, so I remember standing in the kitchen of my then apartment, talking to someone about how we can really address such a prevalent issue, the issue of sexual violence within our college community, our student community. And, one of the ideas that came about was the creation of some sort of survey that analyzed its prevalence. But we really wanted to create something much bigger, something that would exist institutionally. And we wanted to create, a constant voice and a source of advocacy. And we felt that the best way to do that, was to become a part of the structure that we were hoping to change. And, at the end of the day, it's hard. It's hard to make these asks and these demands. And we know that, with credibility comes opportunities to enact that kind of structural and social change that you're trying to make, such as opportunities to meet with faculty, to work with faculty, to work with administration, to work with AS entities, to work with community organizations, local governments. And so we wanted to create that kind of name for ourselves. And I knew it was going to be a battle. And it was going to take time before SASA could become that credible and reliable in the eyes of the public. But it was time that we started that journey and we started that fight because there were so many issues that needed to be addressed.
What were some of the issues you faced in the establishment of SASA as a student organization, and how did you go about solving those issues?
Starting in any organization is hard and it comes with a learning curve. When SASA was first started, SASA was made up only of our friends and our housemates, and we were meeting in the living room of someone's house. And it takes time and to not only establish yourself officially, but to become the organization in the eyes of a public, and perseverance through that intermediate phase is tough, and it comes with a lot of challenges, and, especially when you're working so closely with friends and figuring out dynamics. But once you're able to build that credibility and that support from your community, you're really able to start, enacting that kind of change that you got into the organization for. Another challenge any student organization has is the turnover rate. College students were leaving, were entering, leaving. And there's this constant cycle, and sometimes the advocacy leaves when the students leave. And so part of my responsibilities as the president of SASA was to not only help lead the initiative SASA was a part of, but was to ensure that SASA would continue to thrive even after its members graduated and moved on. And that requires creating a structure and a mentorship pathway that allows for that.
In 2018, you also designed and distributed a survey analyzing the prevalence of sexual assault and sexual harassment at UCSB. Statistics about the UCSB community that were previously unknown. What motivated this survey, and how does this connect back to SASA's mission?
The development of the survey, it really came from a lack of data, a lack of knowledge about what was going on in our community. We have national data, and some facts and numbers to pull on, but we didn't really have anything that was specific to our community. And UCSB doesn't do a sexual assault campus climate survey, and that information is critical to really understanding not only what our community looks like, what the data is, but it better helps us address those issues. And so when I was first developing the survey in 2018, there was a lot of initial pushback, from the institution. And, at the end of the day, we really felt like this survey was needed to truly understand what the statistic looks like, and this allow us, to understand and address the culture of sexual violence. The results of the survey really helped shape a lot of, SASA's projects, and allowed us into spaces we might not have been able to enter prior, such as meetings with administration. When you come with facts and you come with data, it really starts to open people's ears.
In 2020, you also collaborated with students to produce a second survey. What are the differences in their content? How has this survey been more or less successful? And when can we expect the findings to be public?
I know the survey is back. I want to start by, giving a huge shout out to Sarah Carlin and Talon Moyer for their work on, making this 2020 survey a reality. The three of us worked together for countless hours to redevelop a comprehensive sexual violence and sexual harassment campus climate survey. This survey was a little bit different than the last one, and we are also going to be disseminating a survey for the SBCC campus as well. So hopefully that should be going out pretty soon. So stay tuned. But this year, in addition to determining the prevalence of sexual violence, sexual harassment, where they were taking place, we really wanted to understand, and so we had a huge focus on really understanding the community's attitudes about sexual assault. The UCSB survey has been, really successful this year. So far, we have 1,442 respondents. The survey is still open, so I highly encourage you all to take it if you haven't already, and if you're comfortable doing so. And the SBCC survey will be opening soon, and we hope for the same level of participation.
So you all were already starting to build the SASA name. Why did you see a need to also create a nonprofit sector?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It was a big decision, but honestly, we created the nonprofit board to avoid, unnecessary bureaucratic procedures that inevitably stall advocacy. We were ready, we were prepared to do the work, to address the prevalence of sexual violence. We didn't want needless administrative requirements to hinder our potential to make that change. And so that's why we developed a nonprofit board in addition to the UCSB and the SBCC boards.
How do you feel your work with SASA as an undergraduate prepared you in your career after graduation?
I think a lot of folks, including myself, prior, are really underestimate the kind of experiences that you can get from student organizations, and from leadership positions. And, being a part of SASA really, really opened my eyes to a whole new kind of advocacy that I never knew existed before. When you're a part of a student organization, no matter what your position is, you have the opportunity to make it your own, and to experience different sectors all at the same time, working with administrative entities, nonprofits, elected officials. And from that process, you learn what drives you, and drives your passions. My passion became policy. And right now I'm at the Capitol. I'll soon be in law school. And I would have never known that sexual violence prevention, gender equity, reproductive justice are the interests that I want to spend my career advocating for. So I highly encourage y'all to get involved, whether it be, an elected AS position, whether it be an organization, whether it be nonprofit, student-led. I highly encourage you all to become part of some kind of organization. Thank you so much for having me. You're doing great. I'm really excited for SASA and next steps. So